Magandang araw po once again. This is John Orania from Negosyo University and we have another special guest, si Olive. But before we continue at pakilala ko sa inyo, it's very exciting po itong ating pong interview because if you're a freelancer, if you want to know how to become a freelancer or maybe at least have an idea, a side job or side income, then you really have to pay attention to our guest speaker. Right, Giselle?
Right,
Kamusta
you
na dyan,
are.
Giselle?
Ito, ganito pa rin. Summer na. And I
Mhm.
know your climate there is also warming up a bit. But here,
Getting
it's
better.
really
Yeah.
sweltering hot. Alam din yan ng guest natin ngayon kahit walang tao sa kalsada, it's still hot. But hot is what our topic is about today. Yon.
Exactly. Siguro, Giselle, ikaw na mag-introduce sa ating special
Yes.
guest for today.
Thank you. Honored to do so. Our guest for today is a freelancer. Kagaya na sinabi ni Coach John kanina, in that freelancing as a business or an entrepreneurial activity is something most of our listeners and viewers are conscious about right now. However, freelancing is not just doing it for the heck of it. There is some soul and ethics that you need to understand about it. And our guest today is very conscious about that, and she will teach us a thing or two about it. With honor and pleasure, I would like to introduce you to our guest, Miss Olive Escartin. Hi, Olive.
Hello, hi,
Hello,
good day, and thank you so much for
Olive.
having us here.
How are you?
I'm very good and feeling very hot.
Okay. So before we turn on the recording, guys, I told Olive and Giselle that Olive she looks like in a music studio
Uh-oh.
about to compose a song, yung itsura
Right,
niya, yung
right.
aura niya, and then yeah, marami tayong pag-uusapan ngayon, Olive, and we're so happy na kami ipinaunlakan mo for this moment. And again, hopefully na through this podcast, marami pa tayong ma-inspire coaches, consultant, entrepreneurs as well. And yun nga. Okay, Giselle, ikaw na siguro magsimula. First question, siguro hindi ako na. Olive, sorry,
Go.
medyo magulo.
That's fine.
Can you
Good. Yeah.
Tell us a little bit more about yourself para po sa
Ah.
mga nakikinig din.
Yes. My name is Olivia. Parang napaka-standard, no? I'm from the Philippines. Ayun. To start with, I'm actually a designer by profession, but an artist at heart, no, to begin with. And then I started fine arts, advertising. Then eventually, I went to work corporate. Nag-OFW ako, land-based and sea-based.
Oh.
Then nag-corporate ako. I worked sa publishing. I designed books, things like that. And then I became an entrepreneur eventually. However, sa gitna ng lahat na yon, yung resume ko, kung titingnan ng HR, no, ako na yata ang gumagawa nun. 2 column yon. So, lagi may freelance sa tabi. So, yeah. That's what I wanted to share din. So, yeah.
Yung lagi ka may side gig, Ikaw ba, Giselle?
Side gig.
Ganun ka ba? Kasi ako ganun talaga rin ako since I was young. How about you, Giselle? Meron ka rin ba mga racket?
Definitely. Oo, kahit nung high school pa lang, no, this is also a confession, like Olive would always start a discussion or our conversation. The confession is that I wrote love letters for my classmates. And I have a good batting average. Siguro 8 out of 10 sinagot nila. So ang dami kong girlfriend.
Talaga?
Hindi ko nga lang girlfriend. So I wrote. Bolero ko nung bata pa. So
sa mga hindi nakakaalam, Giselle, sino ba yung wife mo at yung relationship with your wife?
Binola ko po ang aking wife. I'm married to a beauty queen and she is also the classmate of John or schoolmate of John in high school.
When I was in high school, that's right.
Okay, mga side gig, tama ka, John. Kasama yun sa side gig ko. I would have free lunches. Sabi nila, there's no such thing as a free lunch. I would get free lunches so long as they write or I write the love letters for their objects of affection.
Exactly, for people like us, like si Olive, parang ako ganyan din. Ever since. Well, ako naman nagsimula. When I was in younger, din. I still remember when I was in high school, nagkatuwaan lang kami ng mga kaibigan ko and then magtitinda kami ng lugaw. Joseph, would you believe that? But we were so young. So in-approach namin to, parang meron silang franchise sa mga lugawan. Alam niyo yung mga nagtutulak ng karton ng nagbebenta ng lugaw. In-approach namin yung may-ari, kakilala nung kaibigan ko. But we were so young. Ang ginawa na lang sa amin, pinaghugas na lang kami ng kaldero. Sabi, masyado pa kayong bata. Hindi ko alam kung ano, you know. But when I was start to work, work in corporate, I always have a side gig as well. I always been my racket. I actually, Olive, I was a web designer back in 1999. Yan. Yung mga Photoshop version 2 pa lang.
Slice.
Oh my, grabe yun. Hindi alam ng mga millennial how hard it is that every spacing, and then hard code kami ng HTML before there was a Dreamweaver, yung WYSIWYG na ngayon nakilala. Pero back then it was like, wow, you can actually click, and then you're gonna have a website. Unbelievable. Pero so ganun din ako. I was started like that way, and then eventually I decided to become a full-time entrepreneur. Now, Olive, in your situation, ganun din. Parang somehow I believe marami namang nakaka-relate with you. But in this interview, mas ang focus natin ngayon ay siguro briefly muna, Olive, can you give our listeners some ideas? What's a freelancing? When you say the word freelancing right now, what do you mean by that?
This response will be based on my personal interpretation, no? Because I've seen different freelancing groups, freelancing sites and everything.
That's right.
Seeing what's happening from the past and the current, no? Freelancing is technically being in a certain contract, no? Maging online yan or offline.
That's right.
Na hindi ka permanently employed. You don't have benefits like SSS. So, medyo technical yung pagkaka-explain ko. Because some people, para mas malino lang, no, yung freelancing would be na pwedeng you begin a project right now and then 2 months, 3 months, diba? Pwedeng 1 year. So, So, yun ang pinaka-general overview ng freelancing. Yun, na hindi kayo talaga attached organically dun sa business. So either entrepreneur yung nag-hire or company.
And because I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, though I was a freelancer before, pero back then it was like I was a freelance. I was working as a web designer. I also have a freelancing job as a web designer. Right? Yes. So I design yung mga website ng mga top brands back then, like isang whitening soap na kilala before the Kojic, before the mga ano tawag dito, mga clinics, dati mga whitening soap. Yung dati siyang kongresista, ngayon senator na siya. I developed his first website as well. Mga ilang airlines as well. Yung mga racket ko rin siya before. Yeah. Because back then, 1999, there's not a lot of web designers back then. Right? Pero ang biggest kasi ngayon, I believe, Olive, because of the nag-blow up ang freelancing industry because of the technology and the internet. Tama ba ako?
True. Para just to add also, I currently have 3 tech startups.
Oh, wow.
3 tech startups.
So I'm dealing with software developers.
That's intense, yeah.
Wow. You're not busy, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm interested. Tell us about that.
Yeah, later I can connect everything, that's why I'm excited. And with the 3 tech startups, it's really because of certain stories, no? And malaking contribution yung freelancing. I actually almost forgot that I did freelancing for a long time kasi lagi siyang side. So I kind of almost forgot that.
Lagi ka may project, so to speak.
Oo. The 3 tech startups are actually, one is insurance, then one is halal, and then the other one is automotive industry. Yun. So ano pa lang, infancy stage. Yan.
Yeah, halal is, if I'm not mistaken, to yung mga Muslim food eh. Tama ba ako? I'm sorry ako.
Yes. Yes. It's more than the food actually. Very interesting.
Even cosmetics, no? There's
anything to do with manufacturing.
Oh, I see.
Even tourism.
I see.
Oh, wow.
That I didn't know.
Okay, so it's really a lifestyle, so to speak, not just some food.
Yes, I'll connect later yung story bakit naging brand ko din is yung ethical. Yeah. And I think, I realized also with this podcast interview, nag-reflect din ako.
Well,
Yeah.
napaganda. Here you go.
All
Yes.
Okay.
right.
So diretso na tayo kanina define mo Olive what's a freelancing is
Mm-hmm.
basically at least yung pinaka concept. And
Mm-hmm.
now we're gonna go directly dun sa ating meat of our discussion which is yung ethical freelancing and why
Yeah.
entrepreneurs need to be conscious about it. So can you tell me more about that please?
Yeah. Ethical freelancing. When I entered the world of yung career,
Mm-hmm.
I realized that confidentiality is essential, and building trust into the relationship. People really don't mind who you are; they mind about your reputation. At bihira yung pag-usapan publicly. At
Mm-hmm.
recently, when I was into sa tech world din, uh, sobra ako na-amaze na ganun talaga. I mean, I don't have regrets having that kind of mindset. I'm thankful to my mom. Yung mother ko kasi my first job pa lang, marami ka lang gustong ilabas. And my mom would
Mm-hmm.
always tell me, anak, ganito, ganyan, ganon. So parang naging unconscious sa akin na, to respect yung mga values that most people are not aware. So when we think of ethical, it's more of like understanding yung within that nature of business. Namba, freelancer tayo, we're dealing with doctors.
That's right.
And ano ba ang compliance sa mga doctors?
Mm-hmm.
It's not just offering the service na dahil gusto nating kumita at magtanong ng rate kung magkano per hour, right? Understanding what they're going through gives you a different edge.
Mm-hmm.
Medyo may pagka-legality. Hindi naman kailangan maging lawyer para malaman.
Correct.
But it's really, really nice. And you know what? Clients would love you more if you know that part.
Mm.
Yun. So yeah, that's the start.
Was it based on your you told me parang paano siya nagsimula but was it based on a certain relationships or frustrations mo from say yung first client mo and then you start to realize oh boy you have to do this and you have to do that or it's just really ano yan because of your mom or because one day nagkakapi ka lang like aha moment oh I need to have this ethical freelancing
Oh,
business.
that ethical. I have to admit, no? Naisip ko lang siya last year when I was changing my Facebook cover photo.
Okay.
Kasi nga multi-skilled ako na tao. I design, I do this, I do that. Sabi ko, ang gulo para i-explain sa tao.
Mm,
And I realized that the reason I picked no ethical, kasi I saw that in every projects that I do, in every collaboration that I do, lahat deals with a lot of complicated NDAs, confidentiality, if hindi
correct.
na-publish, hindi mo pwede, ano.
That's
So
right.
sabi ko, and then, dahil I was in the circle of entrepreneurs and businessmen, when I started mingling with freelancers, again, na mga full-time yung mga super full-time, napansin ko, hindi pala aware yung iba. Sabi ko, maganda to, parang, yun yung naging common denominator ko. So when I mentioned that I'm an ethical designer, design doesn't mean it's only visual.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, design is you're solving a problem. No, because if I'm dealing with only visual designing, I would say I'm an ethical visual designer, but I'm not, because I'm already also in the tech startup, doing product development. So lahat-lahat yon deals with verification, authentication, integrity. Ayan. So kaya na-realize ko, even as a freelancer, if they're more conscious about it, that would give them a long-term relationship with their prospect clients.
Mm-hmm. Which
Mm-mm.
which is you're right, in the beginning
Mm-mm.
maybe for a lot of people who want to become a freelancer or become
Mm-mm.
an entrepreneur, parang business lang Ito yung binanggit mo
Mm-mm.
kanina, Giselle. Soul ang ating topic ngayon.
Yeah.
Soulful, yes. Yes.
Soulful.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I think it's something that our listeners ought to be conscious about. Dahil some would just dive into it and say, yeah, I'm in this for the money. Gonna make big bucks.
Mm-hmm.
But is it
Mm-hmm.
sustainable, di ba? As you know, Coach John, that if your why is not defined the way Olive is telling us about it right now, then maybe the sustainability of your business won't be an issue or it won't
Mm-hmm.
it won't last.
Yeah. And may wake-up call moment ako for this, no,
Mhm.
about this.
Okay.
Way back before I went abroad, I was working with sa loob ng parang isang security group, and it's actually a subcon ng ADB.
Okay.
Okay? So ADB level, no? So it's like an embassy.
Yeah.
Grabe yung CI nila before you are employed as an employee. So pasado ako sa interview and everything, but the CI, as in, they want to make sure that you're not affiliated with anything na negative, even, from unwanted kind of people to ganun katindi. So doon ako nagkaroon ng awakening na yung reputation is something na, I mean, of course, okay lang magkamali. Pero
Mhm.
deliberately na unmindful, na you don't think about what just because you're in a hurry to become successful. Ibang klaseng risk din. Kasi I realized that these people would not really tell someone na, ay, hindi ka namin kinuha kasi ganyan. What just happens is normally they will just not, mingle with you, they will not deal with you. So yun ang nangyayari. So in a general view, there's actually, mapapansin nyo, may ibang circle yung people who are conscious about it and people who are not conscious about it.
Mhm. Mhm. And you're
Naalala
right.
ko kasi
Sige.
palagi,
Go ahead.
Coach John, sorry for cutting you, but
Sige.
you always say doon sa CAP program and all the
Yes.
other programs, it's a running thread for John. Sasabihin niya, yung Facebook profiles ninyo, linisin nyo. Huwag
Yeah.
yung mga rants and all the negative stuff that you could manage out, do it because it's important. That's the ethics of, from
Yeah.
the perspective of a business owner, if I see that that profile is not, ano bang tamang word on, desirable
Mhm.
or
Optimized.
Optimize or groom.
Yeah.
oo. So yun, just remember that. Yeah, totoo talaga.
Mm.
Mhm. Yeah. So, Olive, say through the years of relationships with startups, entrepreneurs, and freelancers, um, obviously, estimate mo lang, in your opinion ba, sino ba rito, how many, like yung percentages of people who are now we can say, you know what, they're more the ethical side or rather than non-ethical ba tamag natin? Parang ang pangit naman tingnan, no?
Yan. Di lang sila aware.
Hindi lang sila aware.
Actually, what's happening, and that's the reason ko napansin yung nakaset up din ako na parang pang stream and everything, because
Mhm.
I kind of like drawn into the parang calling of having that kind of platform that they can hear more about it, kasi these people were not really aware. Because not all people work with the companies we work with. So we have to give the due benefit din that
Mhm.
hindi naman pare-pareho yung mga napagdaanan. So
Mhm.
parang, kumbaga sa libro, at least nabasa na nila, na-encounter nila, so that they become more aware about it. So I think it is like being able to have this sort of, I don't want to sound preachy, and just to share lang no sa audience ninyo, everything that I did really, i-connect ko lang kay Giselle. I really started doing freelancing just because sa mga crush.
Mm.
Yeah, I have to admit, my first web project, kasi hindi ko mag-aral, no, my mom would always ask me, anak, my parents, my dad, my mom, OFW din kasi yung father, he was a captain ng ship. So, and he would always ask me, anak, ano yung gusto mong aralin sa summer? So kahit fine arts ako, I would take. Nag-informatics ako, so nag-web din. But when I was abroad, ang first web development project ko was just because may crush ako sa isang tao. And tanong siya ng tanong, lahat nasasagot ko kasi gusto ko lang sagutin.
Oh, I
And
see.
yes,
Yeah.
pero ito yung catch. I know Dreamweaver, I understand everything. And syempre, pagka Photoshop ka, lahat na fine arts mo, di ba?
That's
Lagyan
right.
mo na ng shadow yung button, masaya na sila doon sa hover.
That's right.
However, may isa akong hindi pa na-experience. I never had experience on really deploying a website for a client. So this is where the ethical comes in. Hindi ko ni-risk na pag-practicean yung kliyente. Kahit alam ko or may idea ko how to work on it. I contacted my friend, webmaster siya ng UST. Sabi ko, sir, I need help. Kayo yung back end, ako yung front end. So, kasi I was conscious din na ayoko masalaula yung client. I don't know. I mean, it was like I was wired that way. So
That's right.
kahit so that's just basically an example. So that's the start. Yan. Marami akong racket. It's really because of crush din lang. So it's a very good motivation.
Yeah, ba? Sino ba
Yeah.
naman ang wala, di ba? No, Josel.
Yeah.
Si
Yeah.
Josel, alam mo naman, lover boys na si Josel eh. Hindi naman. Mahilig lang magsulat ng love letter, pero
Yes.
doon ano si Josel.
Mm.
Yun ang expertise ni Josel. Well,
Yeah.
if you will think about it, right? If you're gonna raise a new generation of professionals,
Mm.
they should be exposed with this ethical stuff. Now, guys, hindi po pwedeng pera-pera lang, hindi po pwedeng
Yeah.
trabaho lang, hindi po pwedeng,
Mm.
para makaklose ka lang ng deal, and then you don't know how you're gonna deliver it, right? Because I
Mm.
believe tama yung sabi mo kanina, Olive, right? If you do this properly, you will have a long-term relationships with your clients. That's one. Number
Mm.
two, if they're happy with you, not only your relationship with them, they may also refer you to other entrepreneurs, friend nila, partner nila, and guess what, you're gonna have more jobs that you can actually take. So these are something na you were right, Olive. Siguro maybe sabihin na natin, Olive, that your parents raised you well. That is why parang sabi mo, deep inside you, this has to be the way to execute this thing, right?
Yes. Oo.
Mm-hmm.
My mother liked the word kusa and malasakit. Yeah.
Kusa. So kusa is initiative, no?
That's
Yes.
right.
In English.
Yeah.
Malasakit is pinakamalapit na English word ng
Concern
malasakit.
ba? Tama ba? Or
It's like a deeper care.
Deeper care, yeah,
Oo.
deeper care, or
Care.
maybe
Or
compassion, maybe one close word
passion,
also.
yeah. That's the
Yeah.
right word. That is right. And
What I like about what you mentioned, Olive, kanina, is sinabi mo, yung motivation mo is ngayon mo looking back, no?
Mhm.
Is yung crushes mo. There's an element of of love, no? Define
Yes.
however you define it, if it's
Yeah.
romantic love or agape love or
Mhm.
whatever, no?
Mm-mm.
I guess that's a great motivation for when we approach businesses, because you have to love your client in a way that you don't take advantage of that
Mhm.
person or that organization, and you give the best that you can give, no,
Yeah.
for the furtherance of their business, and having you at the same time advance because you help that person sincerely.
Yeah.
I like how you said that.
Yes.
that's right. So, pero wag na natin pangalanan yung mga crushes mo, Olive, unless
Wag-
gusto mo talaga.
Okay. Actually, yung iba, walang idea na crush ko sila. Ginawa ko pa ng kanta eh.
Oo.
Matindi. Grabe, matindi. So, does that help you rather in designing a website? Ano bang inspiration mo? Kasi ako, when I kwento ko lang, first year I was a web designer. After 1 year, I'd realize na, oh my God, this is not for me. This is not for me. I mean, hindi ako mahilig sa, sa art or whatsoever. So, I moved to programming right after that. Pero ikaw ba? How did you land as a designer somehow?
Yeah. I actually didn't imagine myself to be a designer. I really wanted to be a scientist when I was young. I really wanted to invent things, but the closest I could get was actually a pencil and paper. And since I would have vacations, very, very long vacations with our uncle, na mga architect, they were taking architecture sa UST.
Wow.
I saw how they work, and then eventually I got hooked into drawing. So I'm glad that itong interview was actually ngayon, no? And I realized that what makes me interested in these things, kasi iba-iba ginagawa ko eh. I actually love the process of solving. Yun. So, yung building and creation, yung implementation, the process in between, I can incorporate yung creativity doon. So, that's one of my motivations behind. For example, the reason na napunta ako sa maraming freelancing is I always want to help. Let me help you with this one. Meron ako initiative na magbigay ng tulong kapag alam ko kung paano gawin kahit kaunti. So the reason I learned how to do these things, kasi yung ate ko magtatanong, siya yung nag-aaral ng programming, pero ayaw niya, tinatamad siya on so may grouper. Sabi niya, Olive, kailangan may design to, pwede mo bang gawa ng interactive na And it's not really the money I really wanted to learn all those things. I studied animation, I studied 3D, ganyan. But it was just because for the love of understanding how to build one or how to make one. Ngayon, for the crushes naman, add on, add on
The icing on the cake.
Icing on the cake. So, halimbawa, nauso yung mga softwares na you can make mock-ups on mobile apps before you deploy an app mismo. So, ang ginawa ko ng love letters na interactive, di ba? So, sino ba namang hindi kikiligin doon? So, yun.
Yeah.
Effective yun. So, just to add then, currently I have interns school. I hope, i-share ko din lang. With the recent pandemic, I've been working kasi really remotely with my team. And when the pandemic happened, there were some schools that needed work from home na internship. And nagulat sila, nasabi ko, tagal ko na nag-offer it na work from home.
Mm-hmm.
And they were so amazed. And what I was doing din also with the students, kasi sa totoo, hindi naman namin talaga magagamit yung work nila. It's really parang nagkaroon ako ng small academy.
That's right. Parang maglalaro lang sila.
And I said, guys, subukan nyo to. It works for me. Maybe it will work for you also. Subukan nyo na pag may i-develop kayo ngayon, subukan nyo na may gagawin kayo para sa nanay nyo, sa kapatid nyo, or kung may jowa sila, subukan nila kasi iba yung motivation that you have a purpose. So, for me, if I translate that do sa businesses namin, ang motivation is yung consumer. Yan. So, parang on a bigger scale, sino ba yung market? Kasi lahat nakatingin sa ROI
That's right. Parang sila yung crush mo.
Yes. Lumaki.
Yung client.
Lumaki na yung market.
Tama.
Parang there has a why. There's a reason why you do this, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yan. So,
has it ever occurred to you, Olive, that you mentioned kanina that your profession is a designer, but you are an artist by heart? To me, hearing those words, and you always use the word love in between, you are in the perfect place.
Yeah.
That you love what you're doing, and you are at the same time earning your keep. Which is most amazing for the freelancers who want to listen, or who are listening right now and want to understand the why.
Yeah. At kung gusto natin extra pakilig, ayan, haluan natin ng konting love life, just wanted to add this. Other people would say, you have to love yourself first before you can find others to love you. Yun. Medyo one of a kind sa akin, reverse. Hindi nga. And i-connect ko to sa freelancing. It's because of my freelancing that I had that wide market, then I found my love.
Oh, wow.
Love found me, and then I found myself, and then eventually I'm like this. So, kaya umiikot lang talaga yung mundo sa dun sa aspect na yon.
Got it.
Exactly. Illustrates the point that you're in a perfect place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sa logo lang yun, Sa logo lang yun.
Sa logo lang, ha?
Sa logo lang.
Now, first, let's just say, let's talk about yung mga freelancers or mga small business owners or entrepreneurs, right? Nasabihin na natin, they have more control, unlike corporate na, you have to change the entire culture. But for, say, freelancer, solopreneur, where should they start? Like, if there's like one, actionable step that you can give them, what would that be?
That would be start from the care. Having an extra care. Others would say should be coming from the place of help. But the thing is, how can you help the person if parang ikaw kulang? So if you're coming from the point of just having that extra care, mas magiging mindful ka sa bawat action. First is you will check what the client really needs. ano talaga yung industry niya, and then you will quietly check yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Can you deliver it? Do you have the circle of experts to help you before you actually approach that client?
Mm-hmm.
Oo. Pwede naman kasi din nila, let's say, parang ako, hilaw pa noon, no? Pero dahil kagustuhan kong magawa yung web, so
That's right.
I tapped an expert
That's right.
because I care. I really don't want to have a parang complicated workflow or ano, but it's nice to have a center. So for them, they just have to find their center. Sa akin, I centered around care
Mm-hmm.
because lahat na natutunan ko was also because I cared for our family. No, humingi ng tulong yung, let's say, my father. I-connect ko lang, no? My father, when he retired as a captain, he would teach for maritime.
Mm-hmm.
And syempre, hindi naman sila makagawa ng PowerPoint. Me and my sister, umuwi ako from abroad. I decided to come home kasi I realized lagi kaming magkahiwalay. So, para ano pa, wala naman akong binubuhay, right? So, I had that care and love for our family na sabi ko, we could work together for his presentations. Doing the PowerPoints, no, hindi pa naman ako expert, pero lahat kaya natin pagandahin kasi gustong-gusto natin. Ang ganda kayo nagawa namin.
That's
Even that
good.
level, yeah. Doon ko nga na-appreciate na ang lalim pala na alam ng mga kapitan, maritime law, collision regulation, like, sabi ko, grabe, hindi to alam ng mga Pinoy. Ang tingin lang natin sa mga nagbabarko, akyat, tapos na.
Mm.
No, ang daming legal din pala nilang alam.
Malalim.
Oo.
Talaga.
And you know, my next job was,
Mm.
I ended up working as a multimedia specialist for a BPO. At solid yung foundation ng PowerPoint. So, from the care that I had initiative around the circle, yung family and friends or crush, lahat yun nakakatulong din on what are the possible projects you might end up. So if for those who are believing sa law of attraction, it
Yes.
works. It really
It does
works.
work. I agree
It
on that.
does work.
Yeah, I agree on that. I mean, if you attract like deep inside you, right? Parang ano eh. Parang how would I say this? You know, if you're someone na laging negative, well, guess what? You're gonna see more. You're gonna attract more negativity around you, right?
Yeah.
Negative
Mm.
people, opportunities. You know,
Mm-mm.
if you're always doubting, you're always like you don't trust people and all. Well, guess what? You know, other people will behave the same way. And I agree with you. Maybe yun nga, because like deep inside you, you may not. Siguro sabi mo nang back then, may you know, you cannot articulate what you're trying to do. Say ethical. You know, you may not
Yeah.
back then. Di mo
Mm.
pa maaaring ginagamit yung word na yun. But
Ah.
you're already actually doing it, and then guess what,
Mm-mm.
you attract the right client, the right people around you,
Mm-mm.
the right friends. Ako naniniwala rin ako doon, Olive, particularly in, say, for example, in business. You know, it's my prayer na, Lord, you know, bring me to the right people na
Right.
makakasama dito sa mission na to, at it will be parang isang masayang journey. Katulad ngayon ito, si Josel, you know, hindi naman kami talaga somehow nung una magkakilala talaga, but then eventually through connection and all, sabi niya, yeah, you know, I do podcast and all, a well-fed coach, right, Josel? And then sabi ko, there you go. There you go.
Yeah.
These are the people that you know, who somehow embrace the mission, and
Mm-mm.
then we'll go from there.
Yeah, and I have to admit, like for example, my sister, no, ako yung tao kasi I just wanted to learn how to make websites, ganyan, marunong ako mag-WordPress. Siya yung mahilig na, Olive, paano ba kumita dyan? And because I would listen sa sister ko, hindi naman yung parang sheep like, no,
That's right.
I'd like to, highlight that. I actually listen. Hindi ko man gawin yun agad. Kasi syempre, you validate, is that something that you want to work on? But I listen. And you know what? Ayan, I'm here. It's actually because of her. Kaya nasa mundo ko ng mga digital social media and everything. It was just because I would normally listen to her. So siya yung updated, the list of the influencers. So it's really out of helping and caring.
Hmm. I
Wonderful.
see. There you
So the
go.
way I see it and understand it, Olive, and it's
Mm-mm.
much, much clearer now, that being ethical is a matter of intention. No?
Mm-hmm.
Your
Correct.
intention to care and your intention to help. Ikaw mismo
Mm-hmm.
gumamit ng word yun. Very
Yeah.
simple, and I think it's apt that we do not overcomplicate things by using jargon
Yeah.
for the workflow process and everything. And because time is always running so fast when we're learning a lot of so many things, kindly tell us where we can find you and where we could communicate with you, Olive.
All right. So my website is greenolivia.com. I actually use the pen name sa art, no? Green Olivia. I have an old artwork here. It's actually college pa to. Yan. So my mom,
Oh.
yeah. So it's pen and ink siya.
Wow.
Wow.
Oo. So ayan.
For the podcast listeners on Spotify, Olive is putting up the
No
the
artwork,
artwork.
yes. It's
Oo.
a pen and ink.
Right. Pen and ink.
Yes.
Beautiful.
So
If you
What
want
call
to
that?
see it, go to
Illustration ba
YouTube.
tawag natin siya? How do you call that?
Illustration board.
this is actually a master board. They call it master board kasi it can take more water than illustration board. It's used with quill pen, yung quill pen, and then you basically So that's what I wanna pursue, pen and ink. Ayan, sa mga calligraphy. But
Okay.
although I do also paint. They can follow me. I have a Facebook page na rin. I created one, Olive Escartin mismo, so they can find me. And then I have a website, and my pen name also is Green Olivia. In Instagram, Green Olivia PH din. If you ask me why green, well, my Chinese name is Evergreen. So it's Lin. So yeah, my mom is not Chinese. I could actually speak Chinese now. Yeah, so medyo multilingual na rin ako kasi I've been abroad yun. So going back, I chose the name Green Olivia because, out of love and everything, tas parang we're always creating. So it resonated with me. Ayan. And marami kasi nahihiya, no, to use the word green because it became a kind of like synonymous with other things. But sa akin, kulay lang yan eh. And the green. Yeah. And to me, probably the color of love is green. Kasi go. You always give.
That's right.
Yeah.
I love that.
Go lang tayo.
Yes.
Yan. Maraming salamat, Olive. And it's really, it's like, I don't know, Josel, wala pa tayong na-interview somehow that we've talked about ethical entrepreneurship, ethical freelancing. This is kind of different in a way. A breather.
This is a breath of fresh air.
Thank you.
Coach.
The people who would normally connect with me, nag-PM, I started streaming a little bit before kasi some of my friends asked me to, just test it. Madaming tao pala hindi din nagko-comment sa sa live, but they would send me PM.
Yes.
I think for those people who are curious about and they want to jump from a corporate to freelancing or freelancing to business, okay, I think I already have a very good amount of knowledge and consult if they they want. Yun. So nakakatuwa lang. Recently, just before we started, I had a conversation with someone asking for that.
Wonderful.
There you go. Perfect. Yeah, maraming salamat again.
Maraming salamat.
Again, guys.
Salamat,
Coach, before we say goodbye to each other now, I just want to confess what I feel right now. I think I have to apologize to the ladies that I wrote the love letters to because they don't know that it was not their boyfriends or now spouses that wrote them. I'm kidding, by the way, for those who are listening who think that I will tell your wives. I won't. But ethical. Thank you.
Lang tayo. Yeah, maraming salamat ulit. Once again, guys, this is John Rania and we have Giselle Gaston in here for another episode po ng ating podcast. And I hope that you guys learn. Yes, and see you guys on our next episode. Have a great day, everyone.